Hey Cowboys Nation, let's go for another round of news from America's team. Watch until the end so you don't miss any news and sign up to stay tuned for everything that comes out about the Cowboys.
Cowboys safety Malik Hooker ranks who he'd pay first: Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, or CeeDee Lamb. Being in the position that the Dallas Cowboys currently find themselves is a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, having three building block players, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons, who are all coming off of all-pro seasons and all worthy of and expecting big money contracts in the near future, is an indication that your team-building techniques have been successful. However, the opposite edge of that sword is that this puts the Dallas Cowboys in a tough financial situation. How do you pay all three of these players? When do you pay them? And where from the rest of your roster will you be skimming from in order to keep this core together? However, Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, and Dak Prescott aren't the only three Cowboys coming off of all-pro seasons. Zach Martin and Tyron Smith, fixtures along the Cowboys' offensive line for the past decade, were selected as all-pros for the 9th and 5th times in their careers, respectively, and second-year guard Tyler Smith earned his first All-Pro nod as well. None of these guys, or the rest of the 47 players who will be on the Cowboys' active roster at the start of the season, will be playing for free. It's inevitable. Tough financial times lie ahead. Ultimately, this is a decision that the Dallas Cowboys front office will need to handle. After all, it's Jerry Jones who will be cutting the checks, and since he took over the team in 1989, it's been Jerry Jones who has been making these football-related decisions. But that doesn't mean that everyone affiliated with the Dallas Cowboys will simply keep their mouths shut and allow Jones to make these tough choices without feedback. Take, for example, Cowboys safety Malik Hooker, who on a recent episode of All Facts No Breaks shared with host Keyshawn Johnson his pecking order of who should be paid in Big D. Micah still has a lot to prove, Malik Hooker told Keyshawn Johnson. He's a fantastic player, but I feel like Micah still has a surface that he doesn't even know that he can scratch as far as what he's doing. So I would say Micah is last just for that reasoning. I'll probably say Zach Martin would be after Micah for the simple fact of, like Zach, you know what he's done in the league and you know he is who he is. Like you know he's going to be there. I would probably say CeeDee first. Let me just go there. I'll probably say CeeDee. I got high praise for Doc too, but I say CeeDee. I'll put probably Doc second. I'll put Zach and then Micah. Micah got to wait, man. He's still a young dog. Micah Parsons is the youngest and least experienced player of those four that Malik Hooker mentioned, but you could make the case that, relative to their peers around the NFL, Parsons may be the best of those four Dallas Cowboys. Not that the NFL Top 100 is the be-all and end-all of player evaluations, but it's worth noting that Parsons was ranked 9th on the 2023 list, while CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and Zach Martin were ranked 34th, 56th, and 68th, respectively. For their performances during the 2023 season, Pro Football Focus has Parsons ranked 3rd on their PFF 101 list, once again ahead of CeeDee Lamb, 9th, Dak Prescott, 14th, and Zach Martin, unranked. Contentiousness for the Cowboys' defense.
Dallas Cowboys named potential trade destination for $180 million Dak Prescott replacement. The Dallas Cowboys are in a precarious situation going into the 2024 NFL season. Head coach Mike McCarthy is a lame duck coach without a contract extension. If he cannot lead the Cowboys on a deep run in the NFL playoffs, he will not be back in 2025. Similarly, Dallas has a handful of star players that have not been extended past the 2024 season and could potentially leave in 2025. One of these players is three-time Pro Bowl quarterback Dak Prescott, who finished second in NFL MVP voting just last year. In addition to him, the Cowboys have to make decisions on extensions for All-Pro wide receiver CeeDee Lamb and All-Pro linebacker Micah Parsons. Of the three, Lamb is the only one who held out of OTAs and mandatory minicamp in search of his new deal. However, the Cowboys have also made it known that they are prioritizing Prescott's situation over the other two. There is no guarantee that the Dallas Cowboys will extend Dak Prescott. One may recall that this is not the first time Prescott and the Cowboys were in high-profile contract talks. Back in 2020, the star quarterback wanted a new contract after his rookie deal had run its course. At the time, he was asking for more than $35 million a season. Dallas instead franchise tagged him. Of course, the 2020 season was a disaster for Prescott, who suffered a terrible ankle injury and was limited to just 5 games. After that season, the Cowboys tagged Prescott again before signing him to a 4-year, $160 million extension. As can be seen in the scenarios above, the Cowboys are dealing with a quarterback that they have struggled to negotiate with in the past. And this year, it is even more complicated. With Jacksonville Jaguars star Trevor Lawrence getting $55 million a year on his new contract, it stands to reason that Prescott can and will earn so much more. In fact, he could become the first NFL player to sign a deal for $60 plus million a season. The question that remains to be answered is whether or not it will be the Cowboys who give it to him. ESPN analyst suggests the Dallas Cowboys could replace Dak Prescott with Kirk Cousins. In the event that Prescott refuses to sign an extension with Dallas, they will need to find a replacement for him in 2025. Developing a young quarterback can take some time, so ESPN's Bill Barnwell suggests that if they lose their 3-time Pro Bowler, they could acquire Kirk Cousins from the Atlanta Falcons. Trading Cousins after 1 year would make sense if the Falcons want to begin the Penix era in 2025. They would have paid a whopping $62.5 million to Cousins for 1 season, but that's a sunk cost by now. Trading Cousins would leave the Falcons with $37.5 million in dead money on their cap next year, but it would save $2.5 million in cap space and free up $37.5 million in cash spend over the ensuing 2 years. The Cowboys could commit to paying Cousins at least that $37.5 million for 1 year of work, with $27.5 million guaranteed in 2025. If he sticks around, the Cowboys would pay him $72.5 million for 2 years, or an average of $36.3 million per season. That's just over half of what Prescott is projected to make per year on his new deal. The big question about Cousins, however, is how he will respond this year as he returns from a torn Achilles in 2023. He is not as good of a quarterback as Prescott, but he is an accurate passer who knows the NFC very well. At 37 years old, he is also not a long-term solution. If Prescott does leave, Dallas is not going to want to rebuild. They will want to reload. In this scenario, a healthy and still effective Cousins would make a lot of sense.